So today we are going to discuss in detail about this optical transport network. But before that, so let us recap what yesterday we have discussed. Some basics which are actually required by us to understand the basic functionalities of this OTN. So guys, remember from starting from the synchronous networks, everything got evolved from the PCM primary multiplex group 24 or 30 channel frame systems that we have studied in your lower semesters that I shown in the last session. You can refer to them. I am repeating this once again just to recap and to compensate for the noise what we got yesterday session. Okay, listen here carefully. So synchronous networks got evolved with the basic building blocks of PCM primary multiplex groups, either 24 or 30 and PCM frame systems. 24 channel PCM frame system supports up to 1.5 Mbps, whereas 32 or 30 channel PCM frame system supports up to 2 Mbps. And you have seen in yesterday that PDF I have shown. If you it is possible, I will upload it today. That section particularly. Many of the slots will contain the speech signal. Means our information or data what we want to actually carry over is transported by the speech signal itself. Ratio of data to the speech is very less. Where in case of 24 or 32 channel PCM frame systems, if you club them or multiplex them, or if you use them as a basic building blocks, these PCM 24 or 32 channel PCM frame systems, if you multiplex them, we will be getting PDH. So this one you are getting. That is a lexicon digital hierarchy. So this one you are getting. So it is called lexicon because its functionality is based on the time division multiplexing, where the allocation of the time is static. We cannot change it dynamically as per the design. Therefore, even though some of them, when you are going to transmit them, these frame systems, individual frame system, if they are going to travel, they will travel with the different time origins. Because the allocation time, if it, even though if it is static, by the time they will reach the receiver, they will reach by different amounts of time. Means these allocation of time, even though it is static, but its allocation instance is going to be differing by a slight amount. So that is known by lexicronous. Lexicronous means uh, time allocation, even though if it is static, it is not equally allocated to all the 10 PCM frame systems at the same time. That time of allocation is differing by slight amount. If 10 PCM frame systems got the time allocation at some different time instance, then they will be reaching the receiver obviously with some different propagation time delays. So which is going to be in the transmission. So this is what we actually mean by lexicronous. It is not fully synchronous or not fully asynchronous. And if you combine such two Mbps PCM systems, two Mbps PCM systems, that is a 6 frequency system. Am I audible? It is breaking the. Let me repeat it. So two what it is showing here. In this two uh, this PCM frame system. Hello. Thing on in this slide box, which state it is there. So this 2 it is indicating 2. Up to Mbps, it is indicating supported by 30 channel PCM system. 30 or 32 PCM frame system. So, hello. 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 Yes. Sure. 2 Mbps triangular system what you are observing supported by PC frame systems, which are multi PDH PDH supporting 8 MB. Then later next level of multiplexing PDH which is supporting 8 Mbps are multiplexed to support 34 Mbps. Then in the next level of hierarchy of multiplexing, each of the 34 Mbps supporting PDH are multiplexed together to form to support 140 Mbps. But the problem here is that the hello. But the problem with less structure, the instance of location at the time for each of the 2 Mbps frame system is different. Then it got enhanced as it is going to travel from lower level of multiplexing hierarchy, higher level hierarchy of multiplexing. So by the time we will be able to support 140 Mbps, our frame systems got delayed. So in order to resolve this issue, a synchronous multiplexing will be made. So here directly all 64 channels will be, each one is supporting 2 Mbps. It's got synchronously multiplexed to support 40 Mbps. Okay, so that is possible with the SDH, synchronous that is known as SDH, synchronous digital hierarchy. So we have seen PCM starting from supporting 2 Mbps to the PDH which got supported the data rate in terms of Mbps. Then SDH and SONET networks which are able to support data rate from Mbps to up to 2.5 Gbps. More than 2.5 Gbps is not so possible with the help of synchronous transport switching network or SONET or SDH network. Okay, so this is the basic I want you to remember. So that is very much important. Or if possible, I will upload that DS particular section of notes which are actually required here very much to understand synchronous networks and the OTN later that you will receive after some time. So after synchronous networks, another point what you discussed yesterday is asynchronous transfer mode ATM. So the difference between ATM and TDM. In TDM, it is based on the allocation of time slot to different channels. That is static. Whereas in ATM, The allocation of time slots will be done not static based, but it is dynamic based on the design as it is required. And moreover, it is going to the functions of the both packet and socket switching. Okay. So how it can be used? The frame structure has been shown here. So the 5 bytes of the head with the remaining 48 kept for the payload. So each of the byte in the head includes information like destination address, the path address, channel number, error control bits, etc. Now how this can be used? So before we are going to send our information in terms of the AT between the source during connection has been set up, each control 1 or 0 which have been generated and to be made in the virtual path identifier table there. So that table is also referred by the at the receiver. So by that receiver will come to know that about the incoming packet. So this is briefly how we discussed about the synchronous networks and the ET. So for today's discussion, those 2 points are very much important. What we just referenced to. So optical transport network. Here in this slide, we try to find what we mean by OTN, how it got evolved, and its basic structure. Then we'll see why we want to study this. So basically, the OTN is optical transport network is a collection of facilities using interconnection of the optical fibers. Okay. So this has been meant to carry out the data between network elements, different types of, and moreover, it is going to support different types of the optical transport protocols. It is going to provide a platform to implement or provides you the flexibility to implement any type of the transport protocols. So we can think of the OTN as successor of SDH or SONET. Moreover, to enhance the data rate also. So it is going to give you a standard platform for the high data traffic in the PSTN, that is public telecommunication network. So it combines the benefits of both SDH SONET with DWD. Means both have got some pitfalls, and its standards are defined by ITU-T G.70. So typical hierarchy structure as defined by the ITU-T G.709 for the OTN looks like this. Figure 8 will indicate 4-layer structure of this OTN consisting of OCH, that is optical channel. Below that OTUK, optical channel transport unit. Below that we got ODUK, optical channel data unit. And at the bottom we got optical channel payload unit. K here it will indicate particular channel. So K you can take any number. So little bit detail hierarchical structure as defined by the G.709, the OTN looks like this, which includes or supports both full and reduced functionality. It has been capped with from the top side with the payload channel and with the data unit. Below that we got 2 separate sections, one section supporting full functionality, again with the transport unit, channel, OMS and OTS. OMS and OTS right here. So OMS, it will indicate optical multi-wavelength service, and this is OTS. So this is going to give you a full functionality. Whereas on this side, we don't have OMS, multi-wavelength supporting structure is not there. Instead, we got only payload, channel, and transport units will be there. So this has got reduced functionality because of the absence of OMS and OTS. So later, now we'll look into after defining this and seeing the standard ITUT G.709, how it has defined its briefly the hierarchical level structure of this OT. So whenever you get a question, define OTN, explain briefly up to 4 or 5 or 6 marks. So in context to this slide, you have to define optical transport network as it is a collection or a group or a set of facilities obtained by the interconnections of the optical fibers, and it has been meant to carry out different types of data between different network elements, like switch or route the data from different customers into the network. Moreover, it is also meant to support or to provide a flexible platform to implement any type of transport protocol. So moreover, it also includes, therefore, it supports voice or data traffic in PSTN. It provides, we can say, the PSTN, it is going to provide you the main highway. OTN is going to provide you the main highway facility in the PSTN as far as the voice and data traffic is concerned. So moreover, it is going to include the facilities provided by the SDS SONET and DWDM. Means both these has got some drawbacks issues which are came over in this OTN. So later this one OTN has been defined by the standard, that is International Telecommunication Union for Tele Communication, ITUT G.709. Accordingly, we have seen two simple structures. One is a very simple structure, and B, little bit in detail structure of this one, supporting full and reduced functionality. Okay, so this figure it will indicate OTN. We have explained its hierarchical structure and functionalities with the help of 4 layers only. You can see here only 4 layers are visible. So this much is sufficient. If you get the question, explain briefly about OTN, the definition up to 4 to 6 months. Later we'll see why OTN is required. So typical WDM transmission layer system, if you see here, it is appearing like this. At the top layer, you got the service layer, that is corresponding to the delivery of services to the end customers. It is something acting like a front end where it is directly coming in contact with your end users. That is known as a service layer. Below that you got, which includes the blocks like ADM, called SDH or SONET layer, that is synchronous digital hierarchy, or optical network will be there, that is a network of these ADMs, which is going to provide you high speed production, restoration, and transmission of data with the TDM. Okay, so ADM means what? Asynchronous data output. So with the help of these ADMs, the SDH or SONET is going to provide you high transmission of the data with the production and restoration based on the TDM. Below that you got optical layer, where exactly our WDM will come into picture. There is a wavelength division. So it is an interconnection between wavelength division multiplexing blocks. High production provided. So here you can see starting from multiple wavelength division multiplexing from bottom layer, that is upper layer, which are clubbed together, multiplexed the next hierarchy level of the multiplexing using ADM in the SDH SONET. The service layer where your OTN will be going to provide some enhanced functionalities with help of both these optical layer and SDH or SONET layer. So means optical layer where WDM is there and SDH and SONET layer uh, are acting like a backbones, you can say. They have got some drawbacks. They are acting like a pillars for this OTN. So what are those that OTN or OTH got evolved? So in SDH is going to support single wavelength transmission. Okay, that is synchronous digital hierarchy. It is going to support only single wavelength transmission. And moreover, this SDH or SONET layer is built from the PCM primary multiplex group system as a building block. And look at most of the time slots in those building blocks, that is PCM primary frame systems, contain speech signals. Means the ratio of data to the speech is very less. Actually, we want to transmit the data directly, not much depending on the speech. Because nowadays there is a more increased demand for the transmission of data rather than the speech. So therefore, this is the issue with SDH. So therefore, we've gone for the WDM technology where it's going to support the transmission of multiple wavelengths. But it has got poor fault detection and isolation facility. Okay. And moreover, the standardization of FCAPS is not possible in case of WDM. So therefore, we gone for from WDM to DWDM, dense wavelength division multiplexing. Of course, it is going to handle higher traffic up to 10, 40 or 100 Gbps. So based on what kind of interface we are going to do. But many of its wavelengths which have been allocated are not fully filled. There is a loss of the wavelength allocation. And moreover, it is not going to provide the clock information, start stop indication, the packet, error checking to into the IP traffic directly. So means that the issues with this starting from SDH, you gone for WDM, then WDM to DWDM. If one of them is supporting single wavelength, then ratio of data to speech is less. Or if other is going to support multiple wavelengths, then its fault detection and isolation, it is suffering from that issue. And moreover, DWDM, in the case of DWDM, it is not going to provide you the information which are actually required for the handling IP traffic. Because nowadays you can see most of the things are based on the IP technology. Even if you take any gadget or home appliances are coming with IP technology based. So IP is becoming a picture here, and in order to handle different protocols, like whether it may be concerned with internet, or video, or a mobile, or storage. So we have to go for some different clubbing of these technologies. So that's why you can see here The OTN basically is going to evolve at the optical layer itself. It will try to evolve the issues like fault detection and correction and isolation problem and supporting multiple wavelength transmission and the problem of the asynchronous structure and higher data rates are also possible. And most importantly, it is acting like a platform to implement any type of a protocol. Is OTN is now we can see it is acting like a multi-service protocol. So this is the figure is simply indicating uh, the path it has transferred from HDS SONET to this grouping of optical networkings. So, and this figure it will indicate the typical structure for this optical transport network, where this figure it is resembling this one only. The top one is service layer supported with the SDH and optical layers. So the same thing. So in this block you can see it is consisting of DWDM light paths. So light paths means virtual connection established between the different nodes of the optical network. Means this one is telling that it is supported with both the DWDM and the HDS service layers. So after observing the issues with these things and understanding why we are going for the OTN, so let us see what are the things it is going to provide. It provides a flexible, scalable, and more robust optical transport network. Its services includes like client signals with variety of services requirements like survivability of the transport networks, scaling of the networks, coupled with bit rate and protocol independence. Means it will help you to implement any kind of protocol with its own specific requirements. Like you can see, it is going to support uh, all these different protocols like SONET or SDH, PDH, that is asynchronous digital hierarchy, ATM, that is asynchronous transport mode, and even it is going to support GigaE, that is Ethernet protocol, 110 gigabit Ethernet protocols. Even it is supporting the fiber channels up to 100 or 200, along with IP. So how it is supporting the gigabit Ethernet technology, which is embedded, he is telling it is wrapped in this standard OTN hierarchy as per G.709 here. So you can understand how OTN is wrapped with this. Sorry, gigabit Ethernet is wrapped with this OTN. So if you look at this one, I brought this figure here. ODU 0, that is optical transport data unit 0 version, is going to be mapped with GBE 1 GBE gigabit Ethernet protocol. So let us see how this standard OTN wrapped with this gigabit Ethernet. Optical Transport Data Unit 2 version is mapped with the 10 GB supporting Ethernet protocol. So those things have been shown here for you to easily understand the things here. So 1 giga E is mapped with the ODU 0 with the help of multiplexer, and 2.5 Gbps, which is coming from STM16, that is mapped with ODU1. So STM16 and ODU are going to be mapped with OTU1, Optical Transport Unit 1. Similarly, Optical Transport Unit 2 has the mapping of STM16, that is mapped as ODU1 with the help of 4 mugs, and STM64 supporting 10 Gbps, which has been mapped via ODU2 to OTU3. So OTU2 includes both ODU1, that is mapped version of STM16, and STM64. Then mapped version of STM64 via ODU2 is supporting as OTU3. Next, 10 Gbps, that is supporting the LAN here, physical LAN network, mapped to ODU second version to the OTU-TE, supporting up to L1 Gbps. Like that, similarly, 40 Gbps Ethernet technology or protocol is mapped to OTU3, and 100 Gbps Ethernet is mapped to OTU4. Means the functionalities of Ethernet which are supporting from 1 to 100 Gbps are mapped with OTU1 to OTU4 like this in this digital wrapper G.709 of this OTN. Okay, this how you have to explain how this OTN is going to support the Ethernet having a close relationship with this Ethernet, different data rates. This is what we mean by this sentence. It is supporting 110 or 100 gigabit Ethernet. Okay. We have seen SONET and SDH how it has supported by overcoming its difficulties. We have seen how it has supported, that means OTN has supported PDH and ATM with the help of the previous slides. And just now, with the next slide, I have explained how the OTN has supporting 110 or 100 gigabit data rate supporting Ethernet technology. So after looking at all these things, why OTN is required? Why not OP directly over WDM? Why cannot we use IP directly over WDM? That is wavelength division multiplex, ideal optical network. That will make, because nowadays IP is widely used. So the optical network, besides all these functionalities, it has been developed something keeping in mind that we can start with any channel anywhere and end up with anywhere with any channel. Means you can start transmitting any channel at any moment and end up with that channel anywhere. So that with that intention, they have started with all these issues. They got this motivation, started building this OTN. So with all these functionalities, the OTN looks very simple in structure as compared to SDH or SONET. If you look at SDH or SONET STS frame structure, it looks very complex that you have studied in BS. It allows the wavelength conversion to minimize the stranded capacity there. It optimizes the carrier WDM networks. It supports for the multi-vendor environment, different services it can provide. Like that you can see here, it is going to provide you the multiple network implementation over this OTN based on the client dependency. So whatever they can tell, you are able to implement it. Means you are totally going to be independent of the client. Easy to upgrade along with the bandwidth on demand. So any type of bandwidth or data rate can be supported. Extended reach between difficult nodes. Difficult node means nodes which are remotely located or nodes which are configured, because you have seen that nodes are also going to function, going to include the functionalities like OADM, that is optical airdrop multiplexers, or routers or switchers, like transparent delivery of the client signals. So all these functionalities are supported by this OTN, and with these things we can easily justify that OTN is looking like an ideal optical network. Okay, so that's why you can see here in this figure, it is going to support variety of protocols, and where your signal is wrapped with these things and will be transmitted over the optical channel. So let us see, as far as the cost is concerned, how it is going to be effective. That is a multi-layer OTN economics. If you look at this graph here, the cost or the power to transmit one bit versus the network traffic, that is in terms of bits per second. So we have shown three curves here which are plotted in this OTN economics. The dotted line in the middle, you can see it is goes on decreasing. A very steep decrease will be there. That is a wavelength switching only, which are based on the wavelength switching like SDH and WDM or DWDM. So as the network traffic will increases, its cost to transmit or power to transmit one bit will drastically decreases. Whereas OTN switching, it is like this. It is not having a steep reduction. But if we combine both, that is STS SONET and DWDM, then we will be having almost stable economy. So this will makes more cost effective. And even you can see this curve is lower than this lambda switching. Means with OTN we'll be able to implement different protocols and technologies with the different bandwidths and data rates with the reduced cost and power consumption. Okay. So one typical example I want to take here for you to understand clearly how the OTN actually works. Your actual OTN structure is like this. This one you have to practice. Okay. Remaining diagrams as you feel. This one, if it is required, you can practice. It is very simple. Then later other things as far as OTN is concerned. At the end of OTN discussion, I will summarize what are the figures you need to practice. This one is must. It is there in your test. This is the actual network structure for this OTN. You can see here it consists of many layers. Okay. Okay. Now we'll stop here. It take still more time, so it requires another few classes to completely understand this OTN. Okay. We'll continue this in the next session with this optical transport network.